Faith within your hands. Oh, oh, oh. 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 Yeah. When you're thinking of giving up, oh no. You know that through the struggle we are all the same. There is always something that goes wrong. Feel like it's level failure in time.
Friday, Creative Pois-On audience. This is Tommaso Cartia. I'm the editor-in-chief of Creative Pois-On, and today we're here to continue our series, #Creativity Will Save Us, we say, when venues close, windows open, a vision into the future, and a journey that we are conducting with prominent artists from all over the world to understand how much creativity can really save us during these very dark times that we are living with a global pandemic and everything that is happening in the world, socially, economically, and ethically. Today we have a very special guest. He's Italian-American actor Jacopo Rampini, who for our series, #Creativity Will Save Us, recited an English version of the lyrics of L'anno che verrà, The Year That Will Come, by Italian singer-songwriter Lucio Dalla. And I will ask Jacopo why this song and why these specific lyrics were so important to him and saved him during the moment of the lockdown, and why he wanted to send what message he wanted to send through those lyrics to the world. Jacopo, he has been in prominent U.S. productions such as The World Wars on History Channel, and then the period piece Medici Masters of Florence alongside Dustin Hoffman, and then we can see him on Law&Order, Catch-22, distributed by Hulu and directed by George Clooney. And he's also the son of Federico Rampini, who is a prominent, very illustrious Italian journalist who served as deputy editor for one of the biggest publications in Italy, Sole 24 Ore, and has also worked as chief foreign correspondent for another big publication, Italian publication, La Repubblica. I see he is online, so I will bring him to the conversation and start our interview. Hi, Jacopo. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. You?
Good. Thank you so very much for being with us today, Jacopo.
Of course. My pleasure.
We haven't seen each other in such a long time.
Yeah.
But thanks to the virtual connections, we had the pleasure to have you as one of the protagonists, as I was saying to our audience, for our series #Creativity Will Save Us. And then I'm here to proceed with our conversations about creativity, and specifically about the entertainment business and how everything that is happening now is changing also the entertainment business. And then we'll explore with you how are you adapting and what is your vision for the future. So I would start just to simply asking you, how are you feeling today, and how are you in this moment in time?
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here again. You know, like you said, since the last time we spoke, I guess a lot has happened in the world in general. I think we're in a better place now than we were last time we spoke. I think as far as myself, for sure. I mean, some productions are restarting. There are some work opportunities. There's clearly a sign of recovery in the United States and in New York, I think specifically. So, you know, I am feeling better. I'm feeling more optimistic about the future. It also has been, like, 5 months. So
a long time, yeah.
Right. So at some point, we knew things would pick back up, and it seems that it is happening now. So, I remember when I sent you, when we worked on the Lucio Dalla piece, the situation was much more dramatic and different. So, it was an interesting time. I think we learned a lot from this experience, and hopefully we're out of the worst. The worst is behind us.
How did your creativity nurture you as an artist during the moment of the lockdown, where we were kind of like immobile, unable to really, specifically for people who spend their lives on stage like you, to live in the moment. So what did you do during this time?
So you know how they say a crisis like this has sort of exasperated a trend that was already on its way. So if you were doing one thing maybe once a week, now you're doing it 5 times a week. That's exactly what happened with me. So the way I stayed alive and creative was I went back to being a student. So taking classes online on Zoom. So using a number of different in this time. And I just signed up to every single class that I could, obviously, that I found would be interesting for where I'm going, with the type of teachers or casting directors that would be valuable for me, for where I am in my career. And I've been just doing that nonstop, much more than I was before. So that has saved me. That and the same thing with I spend a lot of time exercising. If I were maybe exercising twice a week before, now it's every day, because we have more time, because it's something that I need to keep me busy and keep me alive.
Right. So it really nurtured your creativity personally and professionally. So there was a moment of growth for you. And I think that's very important. I think that's a beautiful message for everybody and every young actor and artist that is out there, that suddenly they faced this moment of shutdown completely of the opportunities that were, that we all had in our careers. I want to go back a little bit with the beautiful song, L'anno che verrà, The Year That Will Come, from Lucio Dalla. I was wondering, why did you choose the specific song, which I am very affectionate to as well, but I cannot listen to the song too often because it brings me to a very nostalgic place. I think back about good old Italy, that moment in time after the war, where there was the promise of abundance and resurgence, and we were living in the moment where there was such a sense of positivity, and the new generation, me and you are we have more or less the same age, felt like that we could conquer the world. And so there was that specific, and in the song, he describes a character who is envisioning the year that is coming, and he is preparing for this year and is hoping for a better world, basically. There are themes of inclusion and I would say democratic inclusion. So all of this, why did you think in that moment in time when the pandemic happened, what did song tell you in that moment?
So yeah, it's interesting. I think what you mentioned about our age, we kind of grew up, I think, with that song, even though it's not really a song of in a way of our generation. I mean, it was a song of generation before us. Yeah, but
it was on the radio constantly.
Right, so, right. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting. It's like that song just came to my mind right away during that time. There's something about, obviously, the fact that Lucio Dalla describes a difficult situation he finds himself in, but also projecting himself in the future in a much more hopeful and bright future. So immediately when we found ourselves locked in the state that we were back in, I guess, March and April, I don't know, it just came to me. I just kept listening to the song. And when you asked me when decided to collaborate, it was kind of the first thing that came to mind. I thought it was perfect for the time. It also brought me back, as you mentioned, memories of Italy, where we were unable to go. So it was like, and in a way, it was like missing that part of my identity, and reconnecting with that, and again, a message of hope during a time of crisis.
Absolutely. In fact, in the song, the protagonist, the author says, is writing this letter, this song, to a dear friend. And so my question to you would be, since we, of course, like, we used to live in both worlds, being Italians, living in the United States, and with the borders closed, and the impossibility of traveling, how did you feel personally, the distance from your world?
Yeah, it's interesting because I remember when our friends in Italy first started telling us about the virus, and it hadn't reached really the United States, at least not in the proportions that it had, that, they were reaching out to me, sort of trying to warn me about the impending future that was going to happen to the rest of the world, really.
I remember that happened to me as well.
Right. Yeah. And initially, I don't know about you, but I was a little bit skeptical. I was like, no, it's not going to happen here, and this and that. And eventually, we saw what happened. So I thought it kind of ironical in a sense that Italy, which we, as living in America, we often consider being a little bit late in some of the trends that we see happen in New York. This time, Italy was actually on the forefront. They were actually ahead of us for so many things. So, I did feel very connected when I saw the cases rise over there, and how significantly it got affected. And it did make me feel very Italian at some point. You miss something when all of a sudden you can't have it. So the fact that I couldn't go back, I was, was hard. I'm looking forward to going back. I really do miss being there. But who knows? Who knows when it'll be safe enough to travel.
Exactly. I want to say hi to the people in the audience connecting. Thank you so much. I have a beautiful comment I would like to read out loud from Stefano D'Afre. It says, Jacopo Rampini is a beautiful soul. You guys have done a great job discussing optimism and suffering, how our suffering turns back into love. Yes. That's a beautiful message.
Stefano is a filmmaker and actor in New York, also Italian origins. Very, very interesting artist working in New York that I've had the pleasure of working with.
Wonderful. Hi, Stefano.
Hi to him.
And so I would like to touch base upon. I'm actually a little bit curious about like your journey through your career in the United States. Can you take us back to when you started and a little bit of the progression of your career until this moment, the milestones of your career? What do you think those milestones are?
That's an interesting question, because I first came to New York in 2008. I came here to work for a publishing company. I was not an actor. I came here with an internship for a publishing company. It turned into a job for a very, very prestigious publishing company. It was a great experience. I worked in the Flatiron building, and then the 2008 crisis hit. And me and a number of other people got laid off, and all of a sudden I was 21 years old in New York and didn't know what to do next. And when I was a teenager living in California, I wanted to pursue acting, but my English was very poor at the time, so I couldn't really do it seriously. So I thought to myself, well, this is a chance to start over. It's a chance to pursue my passion, and I got into acting. I got into an acting school in New York, and that's how my journey started. And then there's like a lot of milestones. You mentioned the World Wars. That was my first big acting gig when I played young Joseph Stalin for the History Channel. That was kind of the first time where I realized, okay, I can do this, because I had no agent at the time. I was just, I signed up on a site online where you can submit auditions. So I was very, very lucky because I got selected out of nowhere, without representation, without anything. And it went through many rounds of auditions, and I finally, after months, I booked this role, partly because I look a lot like a young Joseph Stalin, which is kind of funny. And so after that, you know, sort of one job after the other. What has been interesting, at the same time complex, has been to work in two countries. So my goal as an actor is to have a foot in both Europe and the United States. And that's where it gets a little bit tricky at times, because you can't be everywhere at the same time. Ideally, like I said, I would want to work in both industries, but the physical presence, and this might have changed. We could talk about this later, but it might have changed with COVID. But
right.
Being present in a location certainly gives you a better chance of booking work. Being abroad, unless you're a very established actor, makes it a little bit more complicated.
Yeah.
And then, a number of American TV shows that you've mentioned that are iconic. Law & Order, one among them, where I was picked by Mariska Hargitay, who was an incredible woman that I had the pleasure to work with on set. And it's been sort of steady, step by step, working up to, you know, building a resume where you get better and better jobs, and you continue. I'm lucky to be able to continue doing what I'm doing, because it's really not very easy.
Of course, like it's always uncertain for an artist, for an actor specifically, the journey of his or her career, and probably even more now with everything that is going on in the world. But I actually was thinking, when you were mentioning your journey, and I think that sets a very beautiful example as somebody who believes in a dream and perseveres and emerges, and even more for people coming from another country, for immigrants like us. I think the stakes are higher for us to in America, but it's also the beauty, the melting pot that the United States represents, and the American dream, which I believe it is still alive, and I hear it in your words. And that's something that I hope that it filters through the media as well, because right now the media are kind of like very aggressive with everything that is going on in the United States, saying like the United States is over, the economy is over, blah, 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 blah. But I do believe that people like you set an example, and they are a light into the dark, and to the confusion that sadly, you know, we are experiencing because of the cacophony that the media brings to our ears every day. What I was thinking is that you said it right. Like it is difficult to be an artist and an actor in both worlds and in both industries. But I remember back in the days, in another era, where Italian actors were immediately international actors, and there was like this. They would travel and they would instantly leave as international actors. Do you think that since we are going through a moment of transformation and maybe going back to zero and learn how to rebuild the entertainment business, and do you think that maybe that element will come back?
Sorry, I want to make sure I understand. Which element? Like international actors working?
Yeah, the fact that there's the machine and the entertainment business machine that's now is very divided into nations could come back to be more free and more fluid in between the talents.
What? Yeah, that's an interesting question. That's what I thought at first. Again, some of these classes that I'm taking are with casting directors who are working currently on big productions. So what I was hearing initially was, or agents, and what I was hearing initially was, right now you can audition from anywhere in the world, because every audition is happening on Zoom. There is no in-person.
That's why I'm asking this question.
That will ever happen in 2020. In fact, a lot of casting directors have given up their offices. So they might completely switch to what we call self tapes or Zoom auditions. However, now that auditions are coming in, we are actually realizing that they are looking for local actors.
Okay.
So, yes, you can submit the tape from Australia if you want, but because of quarantine rules, because of to avoid the spread of the virus, they're now asking, they're only hiring people, for at least for New York TV shows, only from New York. So it's actually gone the opposite way. They won't even let you audition unless they know that you've been
that
here,
you are in the territory. Yeah,
that you're in the territory. So in a way, it made me feel good about staying here, because I decided to not leave New York, hoping that eventually things would pick up again. And it was tough, you know, being here this whole time, and often with no job prospect was difficult. But now it's playing to my advantage, because all of a sudden I'm auditioning more, and I have a TV show coming up this month. So productions have restarted. It's a huge television show that was actually put on pause in March. I found out that I had booked it in March, and then they said production will be halted for 2 weeks. Those 2 weeks turned into 6 months.
Of course.
But they're back, which is incredible news, because some people thought it was just going to be done. It was finished. Instead, they're coming back, and we're shooting in a little bit more than 2 weeks. So
wonderful. Congratulations for that. I guess you can't reveal anything about the title or what the series is about, or can you?
No, I think I can, because it's been publicized online.
Okay.
It's a Netflix TV show based on the life of American designer Halston, and it is a Ryan Murphy production. So he just had the Ratched TV show with Sarah Paulson.
Yeah, I saw that.
So it's his next big project. All shooting in New York, and it's going to be very, very cool, because it's 70s, 80s in New York. So the costumes it's going to be very, very cool. And I'm
looking forward to see
super excited that it's going to happen, because like I said, back in March, I found out that I booked it, and then all of a sudden it was gone. And that can be very frustrating. So
of course. What do you think the major changes in terms of productions because of the COVID-19 and the way the actors would relate to each other are now? Did I send you like a set of regulations? I'm just curious to understand how can a big production be put into place right now, so with all the restrictions.
This production hasn't yet sent me the regulations, but I've seen from other auditions, other productions, they're asking people to come with a negative COVID test taken 3 days before the shoot. Now, some people I've heard say that some of the bigger production, and it may be the case with this one, might actually test you on site. So when you arrive on location, it might test me. I'm waiting to hear. I'm ready for both options. I've found a testing site near me where I can get a rapid test done in case that's what they want. And then I guess on set, I've heard from people who have been on commercial sets that obviously it's very, they're very careful. Everyone's wearing masks. They're cleaning everything all the time. So I'm very, very curious to see what kind of precautions they're going to take on this, because it is a massive productions with a lot of big movie stars. So let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens. I would like to ask you towards the end of our conversation, what are your goals for the future, and what are your highest expectations for your career? I
recently watched a Bradley Cooper interview where he said something that I thought was just perfect. He said, "I just want to get better and work with great people." It doesn't get more simple than that, because
simple and powerful. Yeah.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, this is a craft. If you understand it as a craft and you're an actor like a painter is, it's just about practicing and getting better. You know, we're not, even if you become famous, it doesn't mean you're ready. It doesn't mean it's over. You just continuously get better until the end of your life, and it'll never be perfect. And then, yeah, having the opportunity of working with people that inspire me. And it can be Ryan Murphy, or it can be, you know, my next door neighbor, as long as their work is inspiring me and is taking me to the next step. So I would say that. And also what I was saying earlier about continuing to do it both in Italy and the United States, or in Europe in general. I think that's the dream.
How do you think that you as an actor or the way that you act change in between the United States and Italy? What do you bring into acting? Is there a difference?
To be honest, I have very rarely acted in Italian.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if I would be, like, sometimes I watch Italian TV shows or Italian movies, and I don't know if I would fit into that. And in fact, most of the auditions or work that I've done in Italy was always international productions where I acted in English. It's kind of hard for me to act in Italian and be authentic. It's something that I have to work on for sure.
But maybe you are already that example of those big actors. I'm thinking about, like, you know, Sophia Loren or even Anna Magnani, who traveled and lived in both worlds, and they became international actors for real. So I would say you struck me as an international actor, which is something that it's rare to achieve, I think. And so it's a unique path, and I really hope that you will, you know, you will grow and get to places, and even in Italy, I'm sure that the right project will come for you to shine also on big Italian movies, because I think we as a country have a lot to say artistically still, and aesthetically as well. I will like to ask you a question, like maybe it's a tricky question, but what do you think as an artist? What is your mission as an artist?
My mission as an artist, perhaps to inspire other people to do what I do, or to pursue what I'm trying to pursue. I think if you can. And sometimes I'm doing that already in a very practical sense. I have younger actors who reach out to me and ask me for advice. And in a way, it makes me feel old. But in a way, it's also very, it's rewarding. And I'm happy to help other people who are, you know, in a place where I was when I was 21 or 22, to save them some time. Because I made so many mistakes starting. Or, you know, mistakes that you learn from. But if I can spare somebody some time, or you know, guide them through a quicker path to where they want to get, I think that's the right way to do it.
So set an example. Yeah, and I think that when I received your interpretation of the song for #Creativity Will Save Us, I think that it really filtered through the screen the honesty into your interpretation, and I think that that's a quality that when it's on the big screen really touches people, and I was touched by your interpretation. So I think that you know, that's why we need art, and we need actors, and we need to see our life played through art that will to give us elements, and to give us hope, and to let us still believe that really life is beautiful. Like one of our biggest movies in Italy, Roberto Benigni, Life is Beautiful. And Thank you so very much, Jacopo, for being with us today. If there's anything else that you want to tell to our audience before we conclude, I see many people are tuning in. I would love to say hi to everybody. And if they missed it, if anybody missed this conversation, there's going to be a podcast version of it. And then you can also find it on YouTube on our Creative Pois-On channel.
Thank you so much, Tommaso. That's it for me. And I want to thank you for doing this. I remember when you sent me the proposal for the song many months ago, I had absolutely no work, and it helped me keep my creative energy alive. So thank you.
I'm happy to hear that. So and where are the places where we can follow your steps, like your website or your social media, so that everybody can follow you?
I guess social media, I guess Instagram, website. I tend to publish things there. And soon on Netflix. It'll be whenever that TV show comes
Ryan
out.
Murphy production. Looking forward to it. Thank you so very much, Jacopo.
Thank
Have
you.
a great day and a great weekend.
You as well.
That little miracle, faith within your hands. Faith within your hands. Faith within your hands. Faith within your hands. Yeah. When you're thinking of giving up